Jake here for American Trucks, and in this video we're taking a look at the Form Lighting LED projector headlights with black housings and clear lenses fitting 2007 to 2013 Silverado 1500s. If you're tired of poor visibility or maybe just how your headlights look, these are an excellent way to bring some updated styling and vastly improved lighting performance to your Silverado. They pack a lot of good features and some serious firepower into an almost OEM looking package, making for a really easy and complete update to your truck. Let's start with what is perhaps the most obvious feature here, and those are the triple LED projectors. Now, all three of these are bi-LED units, so they're gonna serve as both your high and low beams, making for some serious light output. Now, these are without a doubt gonna outshine factory halogen headlights on a Silverado, especially on a truck that's older like these GMT 900s. These bi-LEDs offer you a really clean, bright light with a sharp cutoff, high intensity, and a much wider beam pattern than stock. All that to say, you're gonna see much more of the road, and you're gonna see it much more clearly than you would with your factory halogens. Now, in addition to those main beams, obviously there's some other stuff to talk about here too, and you get some further LED accents. Now, one is right here on the sides, and that is just an accent. There's also another large LED strip down here at the bottom. Now, that is gonna serve a dual function of your daytime running light and also as your turn signal. Now, those lower strips are switchbacks as well, so they light up a cool temperature white to match the main beams when they're in daytime running light mode, and they're gonna automatically illuminate amber when you activate your turn signal. Now, those turn signals are also sequential, which I think is just frankly pretty cool, and they have a nice sweep action to them, sweeping from the inside out. And it makes for a modern interpretation of the classic sequential turn signal. Now, those LEDs also have another trick up their sleeve, and that is a startup sequence. So they perform a cool little two-stage chasing sequence that just adds that extra something. Now, I've said this about a few other lights that have this type of feature too, and that's that it always makes me think of KITT from Knight Rider, which is just plain cool. And if you're old enough or old enough at heart to get that reference, make sure you grab a few aspirin for your back before you go ahead and install these. Now, stylistically, there's a few more things to talk about as well, and as you've probably picked up on, these are much more reminiscent of the latest gen Silverado's headlights, and I actually think they integrate pretty well into the front end of a GMT 900. And these do also come with the center inserts as well, and there's actually two sets of them. Now, they're both out of the box this gloss black, and you get that spare as well so that you can swap it out if you either damage the original, or more importantly, should you want to color match, paint, or wrap those a different accent color or something that's going to match the color of your truck. Just gives you a bit more flexibility versus just what you get out of the box. Now, one other thing that is worth noting here is that these lights are DOT, SAE, and FMV SS108 compliant, meaning that they're also fully street legal. Construction here is also first rate, and it sort of mimics a factory setup. Now, you get OEM quality materials for the housing, plus your standard polycarbonate for the lenses. Now, the LEDs inside are all automotive grade LED emitters with breather vents as well, so it should keep them cool. Plus, you've got heat sinks on the outside as well, so that's gonna help extend their already long life even a little bit further. Now, like we discussed moments ago, these are fully DOT, SAE, and FMV SS108 compliant, meaning again that they're fully street legal, provided that you have them aimed properly, which you can easily do thanks to the integrated adjusters here on the back. Now, everything is also plug and play as well, making for an easy installation, but we'll talk more about that in a moment. Pricing is gonna come in at about $1,200, and that's not what you would call inexpensive, but you do get a lot for your money here. Now, while these do command a premium price, they are a premium product. So the price is deservedly higher than many others, and they are up toward the top end of the category. But with the integration and output that these have, I think they're well worth the money to upgrade if you're looking for a fully LED setup. Installation gets a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter and should take you about 45 minutes to complete the job. Now, like I mentioned earlier, these are a total plug and play install. Everything comes pretty much set up and ready to go for you. It's just a matter of taking out your old lights and swapping these into their place. Now, there is one caveat there, is that to get those switchback and all the fun LED functions working properly, you are gonna have to run this inline tap fuse. But everything is already done. This is just gonna plug and play some fuse in your fuse box, and the two ends are gonna plug in one side on each light, and that's it. So with that said, let's hand things over to one of our AT customers who's gonna show you how to do this.
So what's needed for this video Used a 1/4 ratchet, small ratchets with a 7mm socket for the splash guards. Ended up using a 1/4 8mm to adjust the headlights at the end. Gonna need a 1/2 inch with a 10mm socket deep set with an extension here and there is handy. Swivel helps a lot. Don't necessarily need it, but it makes it helps. I needed this one right here because I replaced one of mine. You won't need that. Use this to remove the push clips for the grill. Use this one to remove the push clips for the splash guards and the grill. You're gonna need, not that stick, you're gonna need a pair of needle nose to remove the fuse to do the end line for the DRL. Hey guys, doing this products install and review for Form Lighting. It's gonna go on a 2010 Silverado. First thing you're gonna wanna do is go ahead and turn the old ones on. Helps to park against something that's level, like a garage door, a brick siding, something like that. To make our lives a lot easier, we're gonna go ahead and mark where the old ones are. Face this center, and it's the center and top of one of them. And that's where I'm gonna want the new lights to point once I'm done. And again, these are not the stock headlights. But the thing about these headlights, as good as they look, you can't put LEDs in this tight. All 3 projectors I've had, they actually move the assembly a little bit in. And then when you try to put an LED bulb in it, the heat sink is against the frame. It won't physically fit. So halogens, projectors, it's a better light than stock, but it's spotty, to be completely honest. And when you do a better halogen, then you're changing your headlights more frequently. I've done the Ultras, changing them every 3 months sucks. Then I have the Silver Stars, I'm still changing about it every year, year and a half. It's not just to reach behind the truck and change the bulb either, so having some long-lasting LEDs conform is going to be a nice thing. Then you suckers back off, pop the hood. So on these trucks, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take this top cover off, clips. You notice some of my clips actually are missing, but there's enough clips here so you can get an idea of the job. There's normally 8 clips that hold this in. And then this grill right here, they have a depression type clip. There's gonna be either 6 or 8. I'll show you once I get this cover off. We're gonna take the inside 3 screws and clips on the splash guards on both sides, and then we can get at the 3 bolts that hold the headlights. There's gonna be one here, there's one here, and there's one more, let's see, here and here. And there's one more going further down, right here on the inside. Probably kind of see it from the camera. Yeah, it's right here at this little pex right here, this apex. That one, yeah, you have to get to that one as well. It's probably have to take the splash guard off. Starting from the top, go ahead. These little traditional push and play clips. You're gonna take a lip, pull the inside in, out, and then you can see it just pops right out. Same with this one. And then you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, just 4, and then 4, 8 total. Pull this one out. All right. And then I only have 4. So don't do what I do. Don't just put them somewhere convenient like a grill. Put them in the corner where you're not gonna kick them. Just hold sits right there. And then these are those clips I was talking about for this. They are, you can kind of see one of them right here. See that rusty looking clip toward there at the bottom corner? Just gonna take some pliers and just squeeze a little bit so it pops right out. There's 4 bolts that I should have mentioned before. Hold this sucker in at the top. They are 10mm. Like most of the things you're gonna deal with on this truck. Again, we're gonna put these, try to pile it up a little bit. You don't really feel like you're gonna remember where everything goes, then use some like Ziploc baggies or something and label it as you take it off. You know, 1, 2, 3 as you take it off, another reverse order too. Now again, this truck is not stock. You will not have these. You will not have these plug and play collectors because your truck likely did not come with the Baja grill. I put this on myself and yeah. The other thing to note is, again, truck is not stock. You won't have this intercooler in the way. You realistically will be able to just reach down from this point and take all these clips off. If you come here, you'll see there's really supposed to be 8 clips that hold it in. You'll be able to get all of them. There was one that here, this aftermarket one doesn't have one, but you'll see the one at the very bottom. And there's 8. There's 2, 2, 2, and 2, and literally a planogram, full, beautiful grid like view. Again, you'll be able to just reach down and take everything from this huge opening right here. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of extra work. Take this piece right here, pull this little clip out. Just go and like push this on the inside, a little splash cover, so we can get to this one right here. Way down there. And all we're gonna do, this one's almost all done. Oh, that's it. You just squeeze it, and it pulls right out. And the same to the other side. See, mine is already a little broke, so I'm just gonna take this cover and just push it out the way. And on this side, I can just reach right here from the back, squeeze a little bit, pull from the bottom, and that's it. Pulls right out. And playing with it, the bottom ones already worked themselves out too. So, let's see. Just gonna pull this top, and we're just gonna lay this right on top here. You also won't have this grill in your way either, so that's gonna make your life easier. The stock bumper simply really sits in all the same places. You only have to take these 2 pieces to get to the actual headlights plus the splash guards. Now, we're going to removal of the splash liners. I'll go and tell you about those. There's 3 bolts. One of them right here. Personally, I do not recommend taking it all the way out. You really have no room to get a full turn on the bolt, and you only need to get it out. It uses a U-type hook that just sits in there, and the bolt does a depression over it. And then once you slide the headlight in there, the top 2 is really what holds it in. You tighten it around it, that's it. You take that bolt completely out, you're gonna hate your life trying to get that thing re-threaded when you can only fit 3 fingers in there at weird angles. All right, so on this, let's go back to the 10 millimeter. I have a lift on my truck, which makes my life easier, but just gonna turn the tire. You see, that's gonna give you all the room that you realistically need. You go ahead and start. Do this one first. Yep. And then we're gonna go to our 7s. They're right here at the top. There's gonna be 4, technically, 2, 3, 4. I have lost one. Again, we don't need to take these things completely out. We just need to be able to get enough room. You can take the splash guard out completely if you like. Do you feel like you need extra room? Beyond these little screws that hold the lip on. Don't lose these. You definitely don't want to run over them later. As far as the clips go, it's just these little push clips. Again, I've lost probably 5, 6. It looks like. Not really much holding this truck together left, is there? Supposed to be 2 here. There's 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and then 1 here. And then when you're taking the splash guard off, you'll notice these pieces right here. These are your wiring harnesses that actually sloop into it, and they hold themselves off. That's how they freestand. So when you pull, if you do decide to take the whole thing off, I don't really need to, then that's what you're gonna have to make sure. But we're gonna go ahead and pull this one off. Again, just like the top cover, pull that out, and there we go. We're trying to lose all these little pieces. At this point, we're just gonna pull this cover down just enough. You'll see now we can get to that bolt. So at this point, it's all we really need to do. Go in here, and that's where that bolt is. So it's that weird little angle. Don't have a whole lot of turn. Now I've got it loosened up. Tricks I use, recommend if you can, your life, keep it easy. Just go ahead and start. You're gonna try to give yourself, nearly half an inch of room. Because the old one, again, it's just gonna slip right in. You see that tight angle I was talking about? You really don't want to have to start this thing from scratch. This is exactly how you're going to be trying to get that thing started back in. So it's just enough to have that view come back in. Now we're going to go to the top. Take this one and this one out. Give myself a little bit of extra leverage. Yeah, these will take all the way out. There we go. Go ahead and again, we're gonna take all these and put them somewhere. We're not gonna kick them away. This point, again, you don't have this grill guard. Yours are literally just gonna pull straight out, just like that. I'm having to fish mine a little bit. Your life will, you've already got this part done. And you see right here, that bolt I was talking about. It literally, there is this U right here, and it just slides in there. That's all it does. And then once it's in there, you tighten the top and you tighten the side. You tighten this side. Again, give yourself like a good bit of play like that. It'll actually work as your guide when you're putting it back, and just be gentle. Pulling this sucker out. You see, you stack too many mods on one vehicle and sometimes you will hit your life. So I'm fishing it up at a weird angle to clear all the harnesses and not completely butcher the old light. You'll see we got some weird wiring back here, but this right here, they all clip. You can catch that right there. This is the GM harness. This is what you'll be dealing with on yours. Literally, ignore this. You will not mess with those. Those are for other mods that I've done. They're just running the same direction. You just unplug this. Mine's fighting the other. There, that's it. Just unplug it. And that right there is where, this is where your new lights are gonna plug in. So one thing I should mention, and I will, I mentioned I have aftermarket accessories. All you're gonna deal with is this harness right here. Plus, maybe or not, the DRL plug and play harness that Form Lighting provides. Altering Form Lighting's wiring in any way will void your 2-year warranty. It is mentioned it could void it with that express written permission from them. So yeah, don't splice any wires into their harness. Don't play with anything. Call them up and ask them what you can or can't do. You decide to just go in and do whatever, and you have problems with the lights later. Half the time, unfortunately, it's probably because you didn't install something right. Especially if it's your fault because you modified their wiring and they tell you not to, like they do explicitly in their warranty, you will have no warranty on your new, rather pricey headlights. All that said, headlight is now out. Again, you see, even aftermarket style, this is really the only harness you're playing with. So we're gonna go ahead and go back here. All right. This is the driver's side. We need the passenger side. I'm gonna do one headlight at a time, knowing there's a possibility I could have to alter something with the wiring. It is mentioned on their website, again, that if you do have issues with the lighting, you might have to switch the red and green wire. And that's gonna be these, oh, actually that's even better. If I do have to change it, I can literally just unplug these two. So they already thought about this. This isn't even a big deal. People are making huge stinks in some of the comments. One guy complained a lot, and it's not even a big deal. It's super easy to switch these two wires if you actually need to. Hopefully won't need to. This is going to be for their DRL, so it looks like I do have to run this to the fuse box if I want the DRL to run the way that I would like. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. You'll notice they still have the clip just like the factory one did. So it has a little freedom to play with while it's installed, and then once we get it in, we're just gonna take this clip and clip it over here like that. It's a depression type clip, just like the others. And that's gonna keep the wiring all nilly and pretty and out the way. So let's go ahead and take a look at how these things are functioning. Before we go ahead and get everything reinstalled. All right, the welcome sequence seems to work. DRLs are working. Lines. And you see why I left the plastic wrap on this for now, until I was 100% sure. All right, so this should be all we actually have to do. Make sure it's actually straight, that helps. And the clip. All right, now let's see. We're working that right now.
It's subtle because of the angle.
Because of the angle?
You don't want to blind.
yeah. And that's still the high beam. The stock style, even the stock reflectors still had a low beam and a high beam. Well, this is the low beam, this is the high beam. Whenever you turn the high beam on, normally your low beam stays on too, and the high beam comes on in addition. It's a flood pattern, even with projectors. The projector's the one with the focus lens and the cutoff at the top. Okay, so this is the harness that they included in case the DRLs don't work. So let's just go ahead and see real quick if there is any change on these running. Right. So this is going to go into the fuse box. It's an inline. I'll show you in a minute, but it's literally plug and play if you do need to use this. This is a Silverado 2010 LT, and it has a daytime running light feature, which for these realistically is, the DRLs for these is the low beam stays on all the time. Come over here, move this out the way a little bit. This is the fuse box. You know, hook up here a little bit, and then just pulls right out at an angle. There. You won't have these already. These are because of other mods I've done, which I'm not going to go into on this video. So let's just see, because this should be to my gauges, and see if there's any difference with this. All right. Yeah, so that's all we did. Is what you do with these is you take the fuse that's in there. With these is what you would do is you go and trace the top of the fuse box, and you would find something that runs with ignition. For example, let's see. This is a run crank relay, and the ones I have right beside it, it looks like, I use the relays to trace it easier. It looks like right now I'm running 48, which is auxiliary HVAC ignition. So basically when I put the key to on, it gives power to my AC controls in the front. And the top one, so I did pull the intercooler. That's 55 HVAC ignition as well. So both of the ones I'm running, I'm using are HVAC ignition. You trace something that's ignition, ECM ignition, something like that, IGN is what you're looking for. You're gonna find the actual fuse here, and you would take some needle nose preferably, but I got the room, you just pull it out. And then you would take, since this already has it, normally you would take your fuse and put it in the bottom spot. The top one, it has its own wiring for fuse protection. And the other one runs independently inside. And then you take it and just plug it in, and the old fuse's spot. And that's what you would do. So let's go ahead and see if there's any change. Was it different or the same?
Oh, now it's on.
So this wasn't on.
Right.
Okay.
So now that's on.
So this does need to be paired in to take advantage of this light. The welcome sequence is there either way, but this daytime running light needs to be going into the fuse box. So since I already have a couple in here, again, I would just take advantage of one of those two. One is for one mod, the other is for another mod for me. You should just go into one of those two. We're gonna put this one in its place. Now the transmission still has its own wiring. I'm gonna run this a little cleaner. Take these two tabs, pull that up, so that whenever I close the lid, it's not clamping on that wire. All right. There. Okay, cool. We got DRLs. We got DRLs. And now we know for this truck, yes, you do have to use the inline tap. Yes, you do have to switch the red and the green. Now we can actually continue with the install. You'll notice with this one that there are two. One side's going to go to the inline fuse. And ideally we can kind of run this and make the wiring look a little prettier. Looking back, it would have been easier if I had started with the driver's side light. Helps if their line's already heat shrink, so it has adequate protection for the future. I'll start running this line. I already have some of mine already ran. My history playing with computers leaves me a little extra running lines. If you're bragging about it to another fellow motorhead, a bunch of stray wiring never looks very good. Looks like they gave us just enough to run a straight path. Oh. Okay. And I can come through here. Looks like there's just enough wire to realistically run this. Considering I am able to run this the way my special self wants to, that's perfect. So I'm worming this through a lot of little ports in the frame, running it behind other wires, and then at the very end, here back we are. This is going to be for the DRLs. Yep. Okay. You see again why I left the splashing on. So to recap, you will have to, at least for my 2010, to get this DRL running right here, you will have to switch, you will have to wire it into the fuse box. And that plug and play, it is plug and play. And to get the high beams working correctly, you'll just have to switch these two plug and play harnesses. Reading the review kind of scared me a little bit. I thought I was gonna have to take apart this pin assembly and actually put, no, they already planned for this. Kudos. Kudos to them. All right. And now, go ahead and start planing this sucker down. And again, you will not have to do all this worming. That is because of my mods. So I'm gonna be very careful. Things you'll notice. Doesn't have it. Make sure none of the lines are clipped or hooked underneath there. Make sure all of them have a free run. As you're worming it, as I'm worming it back in, because you won't need to. You're gonna stuff your wiring back into that port. And again, this is what you'll see what I was talking about with the projectors I had and the other two sets. I couldn't install an LED because the low beam is right here and it sits against this rail. The heat sink would not let me physically put the headlight back in. And that was definitely a problem. Could not run LEDs that way. You want to unclip that back on now that we got everything in. The headlight harness. And now with that in, it fits right in that port. And we're gonna very carefully, that U that I talked about, we're gonna guide that in first. And then, there we go. So things to look out for. Things to look out for, you will notice at the very bottom, there's this hook. How well you can see it. And that lip of the framing actually sits into that. So there's 4 points you have to align carefully because you don't want to shatter these lights. You don't want to break any harnesses and have it just flailing on you. So with all that lined up, I've got the one that I can see down from this corner. I can see in there, and I can get that one lined up there. Go back to the right side, got that clip lined up, and now it just sits right there. This. We're gonna be careful, and we're gonna hold it in place. I'm gonna keep feeding this. That one in. Make sure you don't drop your precious sockets. You need them. Let me go back down here. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, it fits pretty good. In my opinion, some foam would probably be better. But as far as the lines go, the gap is even all the way around. So, yeah. All right then. Okay, so just connected this one. Yeah. 8-pin harness. Looks like I've got a little bit of corrosion on that one. I'll deal with that. I'll save that problem for future me. And then connect this, the one that goes to the fuse box. There we go. Plug and play, nice and in. Now, since we already have the slack pulled out, I'm going to take this clip, go and move the headlight a little into alignment, and clip that in right there. We're going to make an effort to clip that in right there. Be strong, valiant effort. There we go. Alright, I'm gonna line everything back up. Including that bolt at the bottom. Remember, it's kind of sitting there. So we're gonna keep it close, hug it in. We're gonna basically feel it sit. And this one, yep, there we go. This one fits a lot cleaner than the passenger side did, so I need to figure out what's different with the two sides. This side fits perfect. So I've got to figure out what the heck that side's up with. Considering it fits so smooth. I'm going to take this stuff off. I'm going to wait till it's all the way in. Those janky plastics hanging out. We already know. Based on feedback from the other one, everything with this one should be good. Tighten that up. I'll bet you it's those. Alright. Start putting this stuff back together. Loose. Do have to play with the adjustments up here first. That's light. There we go. For me. Here. Come on, my dear. Yep, that's why. You were a tight fit, weren't you? Not completely lined up. There we go. There we go. There we go. Uh-huh. Now, you should line up ever so sweetly. Yes, sir. Back to that 7 mil. That's what you're going to use for both these. And unless you've made mistakes in your life and dropped screws like I have, yours will not look like this. Tighten that one last. All right. Take these and slip these back into place. That side too. Put that back in. Both sides should have that. Mine does not. Mine does not. Fuse box cover back. Brake hooks in at an angle. Click, click, it's good. And then start putting this back on. Again, you will not have these plug and play harnesses. That is just for my other thing that I've added. very particular about fitting it apparently. Alright. Now line those clips up at the bottom. At this point, no tools are needed for that part. They'll literally just push right back in. Just do a little tap, tap, tap the rule. And grab the bolts. There's 4 at the top. That's not one of the bolt holes. This is a bolt hole. They look pretty, don't they? One. This is 2. I lied the first time. There's 6 little push clips that hold it in, not 8. It's still not a bolt hole. This is a bolt hole. You will not have the grill guard in your way. You will also not have a handy dandy tool holder. You may not be using tools on your grill. Go down. It's not a. You got your fitting right. It's fine. That's it. And then put that there. And this. Just anything is the last step. Line those holes up. There's 2 at the top. Make sure that that part's out first so you can squeeze in. Yours are kind of janky like mine. It might actually help. There we go. Line that up. I actually have to take it apart a little first. Some of mine already in. That one. And I still got this one, which I'm gonna put here. And I got one more on this corner. So it goes right in, just slips in, and that slips in there. It's just a GM splash rivet, that's all it is. Notice they look the same. So I'm gonna go and put 2 more in. And 2 of the ones that I was gonna use. If I had thought about it, I would have put some in on the splash line too. It uses a lot in the same place. Alright, let's scan welcome thing, the RL's working. And we got the low beams. Mine, remember that tuck we did the first step? Mine are actually a little bit high. Yeah, so I am honestly gonna leave them like that first for personal preference. But I'll go and show you for the sake of it how to adjust one. It's 8mm. It's easier to see. A lot more room to work with. Alright, so I'm looking. Ooh. Yeah, on these, it's right here. Horrible lighting. That's where that sucker is, right there. Yeah, can you hold it here? So let's see if I can get at that. Realistically, I need a swivel and a wrench. Alright, so step, like look at that way. So now it's on there. As far as I can tell, right tight, lefty loosey. Switchback style. Very nice. Alright, stop the vid, take a couple pics.
That's going to wrap it up here for our review and install of the Form Lighting LED projector headlights with black housings and clear lenses, fitting 2007 to 2013 Silverado 1500s. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, for all things Silverado, be sure to keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.